Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Carlo with 4GQ TV. Today I have a very special interview, a very special guest, and I will introduce her in just a moment. But on the panel with me today, I have PK, also known as Dion, and I have Paris over there on the West Coast.
Go Mariners.
And then we have Courtney. Hey, Courtney.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're really excited for you to be on the show with us. And it's a pleasure getting to talk to you now, especially after you just wrapped up something. It sounds really cool, which we'll definitely get into in a moment here. But Courtney, the first question I always like to start out with is, how did you get into voice acting and acting in general? What brought you to that?
Oh gosh. It's kind of a long story. I'll keep it short. But basically, I grew up wanting to be a doctor. I went to college to be a doctor. I majored in psychology and neuroscience, and I was also dancing at the time, so dancing's always been a huge part of my life. I grew up doing hip hop dance. I actually still teach it to this day. And so I was dancing and I was in college, and two things happened. One was I was in a pretty bad dancing accident where I pinched a nerve and misaligned my discs, and had to go through this whole recovery process and kind of had to go through this whole identity change where it's like, this whole time I was like, I'm a dancer. And all of a sudden I had this injury and I was like, can I still be a dancer? Yeah, it was really triggering for me because, at the time, like I said, that was my identity. And I realized I couldn't do this for 40 plus hours a week anymore. And, but I really love performing. So I had that aspect of me. The second thing that happened was one summer I worked in a rat lab doing research for one of the professors at my school. And I was in charge of, kind of handling the rats. I was helping her put together this software book because they had this really, I don't even remember what it's called. It's really old, antiquated software that I was trying to put it into a form where people could actually understand how to use it. And I'm a big animal lover. I was with these rats all the time. And, the purpose of a rat lab is literally, you do research in a rat lab. You're essentially performing experiments on these rats. And that's unfortunately a huge part of the medical industry, but it's also very necessary for the medicines, that we get. All these medicines are always tried on animals first before they're given to humans. And it was very traumatic for me. I did not like experimenting on rats. I didn't like the fact that, after an experiment, you can't use that same rat anymore. You have to get rid of the old rats, bring in a whole bunch of new rats. And I kind of came to this conclusion that I hated research. I didn't want to work in the medical field for research. And I was like, okay, so maybe I could be a doctor and like actually work with people. And then I was thinking about how I am as a person. And I also realized I am way too emotional to be someone's doctor. Okay. Like, don't tell me that I have to tell someone that they have cancer and have 6 months left to live, because you're gonna have to comfort me while I sob through that. And you're the one with cancer, so I was like, okay, so maybe not a doctor. I mean, I finished my degree. I was pretty much done at this point, and I was like, okay, maybe I won't go to grad school. Maybe instead I'll take an acting class because I can still perform. And I was like, oh, I'm in LA, like everyone takes an acting class while they're in LA, blah blah blah. And so I jumped into an acting class my senior year of college and or of undergrad, and I fell in love. I really loved it. I didn't think about voiceover. I was just doing on camera, so like short films, TV, feature length films, that stuff. And I was doing a web series, and the DP of this web series and I were talking one day at lunch, and I don't know how voiceover got brought up, but it did. And he was like, have you ever thought about it? And I was like, no, like it sounds really cool. Like I grew up, I was super nerdy growing up. I watched a lot of cartoons. I was a little bit antisocial. I played a lot of video games, but I never thought about it as a career because I had always been like doctor this whole time. And I was like, yeah, I've never thought about it. And he was like, oh, my mom's a coach. Like, maybe you should talk to her. And I was like, oh, okay, it's your mom. Like, yeah, hang out with your mom. And I did. And she became my first voiceover coach. And that was 6 or 7 years ago now. And now I'm doing it full time.
Nice. That's a really cool story.
Yeah, I hope that wasn't too long. It's kind
of
I was taken. I was like, how do you go to one extreme to the other? You finish your degree, which is impressive, and was able to get into, like, I was like, wait a minute, you was going to school to be a doctor, then you got into research, and then you said, I can't do this. I can't tell somebody they got a terminal disease. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, there's
Oh
nothing
my
like
God.
trauma to make you redirect your life, you know?
Wow. And then you said you had an accident, which kind of put you in a situation where you're just rethinking about life. You was in the grocery store looking at life cereal, thinking about life, right? That's when I was, oh
Oh
man.
yeah, except instead of me at a grocery store, it was me like sobbing into my pillow every night, not wondering what I wanted to do with my life.
Did your pillow ever talk back and try to encourage you like
Um, I think it was more mad that it was wet all the time.
yo, that is crazy. Like if you go through that again, I'm like, that could have been a show itself, like in
Yeah,
itself.
maybe.
Like, wow, that was different for sure. So yo, what you said you like cartoons, and is that where you draw your inspiration from? Cartoons, video games, etc.
Yeah, I love every area of voiceover. I always say like wherever the work is, that's where I'm gonna go. But I think because of my personality, generally I've always been a very high energy person. So it was much easier for me to fall into video games and cartoons than let's say it was commercially. Commercially, I work a lot now in commercials, but it took me a long time to get there. Like I had to train a lot harder to work in commercials because I had to learn how to be chill. I'm not really a chill person, so. But cartoons, generally, they're heightened, they're larger
Right.
than life, and that's how I kind of am. And even in on-camera acting, I kind of gravitate more towards those. I mean, I love dark comedies, but I gravitated initially towards comedy because it's usually a little bit bigger, right? Than dramas. So I think that's why those two areas of voiceover were like easier for me to get into.
Gotcha.
Nice.
I noticed you also seem to be leaning towards more anime-ish driven content on your voiceovers. Do you got like a, a small bias towards the anime? Not bias, but more favoritism on that side of the house?
So what's funny about anime is I didn't actually besides Sailor Moon, which I didn't know was anime when I was little. And I guess Pokemon. I didn't, when I was little I don't come from entertainment. I didn't know that those were like a thing. I was just like it was something on my TV and I watched it. But besides those two things, I didn't really like get into anime until like the pandemic, really 2020. My fiance was a huge anime guy, and he would always watch anime while I was doing other things. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Like, I'll just show me what should I watch? What should I watch? If you're gonna get me an anime, what should I watch? And so, he was like, he told me to watch Erased, and then I watched Death Note. And then it was like boom, 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 boom. And now I'm obsessed with anime. And before 2020, I actually never got any anime auditions. For a
Wow.
while, in the voiceover industry, agents kind of stayed away from anime because it's generally very low paying compared to the other areas of voiceover. So they kind of like didn't want to do it. But nowadays, it's becoming more popular, more mainstream. I mean, we have like anime in box office theaters now. And then on top of that, some of the anime is going union now. And so, like, agents are more likely to handle that kind of thing. And so during the pandemic, when I was doing all my marketing and I was reaching out to, all these studios, and I was like, I want to work in anime because, like I said, I just want to work where the work is. If it's an area I can jump into, I want to jump into it. And so I started reaching out. I booked my first anime job in 2021, which was just last year. And then since then, again, I think it's because of my general energy level, and I'm really good at observing. Even just by watching anime, I was like, it's when you're watching content as an entertainer, you're always observing. You're always like, oh, okay, like that's the feel, that's the style, and these are the genres, and these are the types. And just by watching anime, I was able to absorb a lot. And then I started working in anime, and I feel like the more you work in anime, the more the work comes. Like breaking into it is really hard, like I guess with any other thing in entertainment. But once you're in it, like you can start working more and more and more. And I think again, because of my my personality, anime was really easy for me to fall into.
They do
Nice.
have a way of expressing emotions in a lot of scenes that are kind of eccentric,
Yeah, I love it. I love all the noises. The noises are the best part of anime.
Nice.
Paris,
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was just I'm still processing the the story of like, going from becoming a doctor to, going into being a voice artist. I mean, they're both amazing careers. So it's not like it's not a fall off or anything like that. You're able to regroup and challenge yourself. I mean, I'm sure it was challenging to think, as a doctor, a lot of process driven and a lot of things you got to do, a lot of, constant. So then now you're doing voice acting. It's still like a constant thing of training. So your mind is already there, right?
Yeah, and there's so much of like the organizational stuff that goes into kind of like the medical field. I was able to transfer into like, I guess, like the business side of voiceover, which is like not just getting auditions and performing and booking a job, but like tracking auditions, tracking invoices, like how to like stay organized, how to like keep in contact with people. Like I have special software for that kind of stuff. Like I feel like those like organizational skills really transferred over very well.
Yeah. So able to, use that as a starting point. A lot of people don't have those. Those are very important things that you built skills. You built, and some people just don't have that, and that's somewhere where they have to like train themselves how to do that. Since you're already there, I won't say give you a head start or anything like that, but it's just one less thing you have to worry about because you already have those skills.
Oh yeah, I can excel like a mofo.
There you go. I excel. There you go. So there's a T-shirt at Microsoft. We got I excel. So.
Yeah. Now you're gonna have to show us that shirt, Paris. Just to let you know, we're not gonna live it down. So one thing I do notice is that you have your own studio. You have your own voice room, and I think that's I think before the pandemic, a lot of people I spoke to in this industry didn't have their own booths. They used to go out to like studios or that sound engineers.
That was me. Me. I was that people.
And now, post-pandemic, a lot of people are building their own studios, whether it's self-made or they have someone come out and install it. But I think that's very unique. I was going to ask you, what is the story behind your voice studio?
And please let it include you just want to drop some bars and sing "Lose Yourself" in those requests.
So funny thing about like that, I feel like the pandemic and the like genesis of this studio is really the reason I have this career. And the reason is, so March, like 15th or whatever, right? Pandemic hits. The grocery stores are empty. Everyone's freaking out. Yeah. 1 week into that, my agent calls me. She says, "Hey, Courtney, you booked this job. It's like a AAA video game." And I was like, what is this? I don't remember auditioning for this. She's like, "You didn't. They just said like you've been auditioning for this studio for years and they really loved you and they just want to cast you." And I was like, "Oh my God." And before this, I had like barely any credits. Like I was booking like maybe a couple jobs a year, And so I was like, "Oh my God, this is my chance." I was like, "I'm going to be a voice actor now." She was like, can you go home right now and send in a sample of your home studio?" And I was like, yeah, sure. LOL, I did not have a home studio, okay? Because before this, I was like every other actor. I would go into a studio to record. You never needed a home studio before this. Some actors had them, but you didn't need it. Came home, recorded some terrible audio on my really, really crappy USB mic that I barely used for auditions. Because even for auditions, I would go into studio. And I sent it back, and she calls me like 30 minutes later, and she goes, "Hey, Courtney, like, I'm so sorry. This isn't good enough. Unfortunately, this project's moving really fast. They're going to have to recast you." And this sent me into the worst spiral for 3 days. I was with my pillow again. We had that quality crying time together, 3 straight days, right?
Oh, no.
And then after that, I was like, this is BS. I was like, this is just bullshit. I was like, this is not my life. I can't believe I'm never going to let this happen again. I was like, this is the dumbest reason to lose a job. And so what I did for the next 3 months was I sat my butt on my computer and I just watched hours and hours of free YouTube stuff, learning what is sound treatment, what is isolation, like what is foam. I was like, what does acoustics really mean? What is reverb? What is echo? I was like, I didn't know any of these things. What is Source Connect? What is IPTTL? Like all of a sudden these new softwares I had to learn, and I didn't know anything. It was literally starting from zero. And I spoke to all my sound engineer friends, and then I ended up hiring someone to help me understand like the acoustics of first my closet. So I like built like a mini booth in my closet. And I worked out of there for a couple months, and then I got my stimmy check, and I was like, you know what? I just have this feeling. I was like, I have this feeling. I was on unemployment too. I was like, I have this feeling. I was like, I think I need to build a booth. But I felt crazy because I'd never spent that kind of money before. Booths are really, really expensive, and my closet was fine. Honestly, like I would say, my closet sounded amazing, and I think I booked like 6 jobs out of my closet, and the only thing was it wasn't as isolated as like a booth would be. So like, you know, if the airplanes, I live near the Burbank airport, so the airplanes, your
Yeah,
like dogs barking, the neighbors' dogs, and so I was like, I didn't like having to pause as often as, you know, I didn't want to pause at all. And so I was like, I had this feeling, and I talked to my fiance. I was like, I feel crazy. I was like, I think I need to buy a booth. And he was like, okay, so buy a booth. And I was like, money, because I'm an anxious person, and spending large amounts of money makes me very, very anxious. But I just kind of went with my gut, and I found a company that was affordable. There was a COVID discount at the time.
There you go.
Yeah, I was like, I might as well buy it now. There's a discount. I got it
Right.
like $700 off. That's a big
Oh,
discount.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they built this booth, which is in my living room. You guys can kind of see it. That's my living room right there. And I built it, and then I transferred all my equipment in here. And I think by the time this booth was like up and running, it was like August 2020.
Mm.
And then like literally it just became job after job after job after job after job. And I think that's because like unfortunately, like this business is expensive. Like equipment is expensive, booths are expensive, classes are expensive, and like you need to have like money to be able to do the things that I did. And I was really lucky because I had the STEMI checks and I had the employment. I don't have those things anymore. So it was just kind of like right time, right place kind of thing. And the voice actors who were able to kind of like get their shit together as fast as they could really were the ones who were working, you know, in 2020 and then into 2021. And I think like it just kind of like set me above. And then also I had all this free time. You know, I was reaching out to studios. I like updated my demos. I updated my website. I did like a full reset with my career. And then that's how I got this booth.
So I'm not going to
Awesome.
sit here and be subconscious about having a USB mic because, you know, it's, you know, you had mentioned some really bad times with yours. But
Sorry.
no, it's okay. I won't have any kind of emotional problems at this. No, I'm just joking. But you know, looking at you did put in a lot of work, and if just the past few years, you know, you looking at your little resume there, you definitely put in some work. What is the difference, and how do you transition into doing video game voiceovers versus just cartoons and anime?
I think it really depends on the project. Because you'll notice like the video game Neon White that I did, it was heavily based on anime. And actually when they gave the reference for Violet, which is the character I play, they referenced Misa from Death Note, which is like the first like full-length anime I ever watched. I was like, oh, I got this. I get Misa. And so it really depends. Like, so there's a lot of crossover, and even within cartoons, like depending on what platform you on, like, is this for Disney Junior or is it for Adult Swim?
Mhm,
You know, is the video game like Neon White, or is it something more like The Last of Us, which is like super cinematic and grounded and really what I would do for any of my on-camera auditions if I'm being like actually taped with a camera. So I would say, yeah, it really depends.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Do you have any any aspirations for any like of the blockbuster movies that Disney does from Pixar, or Sony does, some of those Paramount? Are there any aspirations to potentially get into the movie scene versus what you're doing here in the animation and video game scene?
Um, Absolutely. I mean, being in like a big, DreamWorks or Disney, like Pixar film
Yeah.
is like definitely a dream. But like, I will say, like, unfortunately, as a voice actor who does voice acting, those roles don't often go to voice actors. They're more often casting on-camera actors for those that are very, very big names. So usually the voice actors in those films are the ones doing the really small incidental characters or looping or walla for those movies. So I feel like I either need to know someone or become an on-camera celebrity really fast, and then I'll be able to do it.
All right.
You seem to have the drive for it. So,
Yeah.
Yes, I'll get there.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
with that energy. Go ahead, Paris.
No, I was gonna continue on to that. Like, since and I totally understand. You got to have the big on-screen name and stuff like that as you're making that transition. I was watching some of your other videos and some of the one-offs that you did. Actually, you filming live, they're pretty good. So, are you looking at trying to audition for anything live right now, or are you just sort of just I'll get it when I get it, but right now I'm focused on voice acting?
So at any given time, I'm always pursuing both at the same time. And so, like the thing about voiceover is generally there's much more volume in voiceover than there is in on camera. And you can ask any actor this. Like most on camera actors, they're getting maybe between 0 and like 5 or 6 auditions a month versus voice actors, especially if you're with an agent or if you're like me, not only do you have a main agent, but you have multiple agents in regional areas. I could get anywhere between 5 and like 20 auditions in a day. And that is a huge difference. And I think really like being an actor and booking work, it's really a numbers game. So many people are talented. One person who books a job is not necessarily more talented than the other. It's really a numbers game. And so because of that, I tend to work a lot more in voiceover. But I am also doing on camera work right now as well.
Awesome. Go ahead, Carlo.
So I was going to ask you, I noticed that, there's before a lot of this video game stuff that you did and before some of the TV series that you were in, you also did like some of your own kind of shorts, I think, with BuzzFeed.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know, which I think is pretty cool because I don't know if you actually wrote your own scenes with that, if that was like your own thing that you wrote, or if you were reading lines from what somebody else wrote, but are you able to tell us a little about that?
So all my BuzzFeed stuff, that's all just on camera work. So like I've done like a few different commercials with BuzzFeed. I've done scripted series with BuzzFeed. I think a while ago I did BuzzFeed. It's called BuzzFeed Murder Mysteries now, but before it was like Snapped something when I was on it. It was a while ago now, like 5 years ago. But like that was a whole like mystery show that we did with a script and everything, and it aired on Snapchat, and we had like millions and millions, of viewers. So yeah. I don't. I mean, I guess I've written before, but I wouldn't consider myself like a writer.
Yeah. Right, let me get established first. Let me get.
So let me ask you a question. October is coming. I mean, Halloween's coming. Do you do Halloween?
I love Halloween. I love
dress up,
spooky
cosplay,
things.
all that good stuff.
Oh, but I'm lazy, so I don't know. Like
my God! Never mind. Never mind.
No, I love spooky things. I will watch all the spooky movies. I'm dying to see Smile right now in theaters because it's been a long time since I've seen a trailer that literally made me scream in a theater. Yeah. I'm usually not I don't get that scared, but this one did, and I really want to see it. I love going to spooky events. I'm planning on going to Not Scary Farm. We did Halloween Horror Nights last year. Love spooky things, but I'm lazy, so I'm probably gonna be wearing, sweats and a t-shirt.
There you go.
Unless someone wants to make me a costume, I'll wear
Hold on, but your personality is like liver than life. You can't do that. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? It's gotta match up. You gotta go and flex. And then scare some people.
Hey, if you want to make me a costume, I'll rock it.
There you go.
Oh,
Dion.
wow.
You need to make her a costume.
You don't want me to do that. You don't want me to do that.
No, I'm gonna transition into something here for you because I know you brought this up. But I went to a sci-fi convention, horror convention recently, and there was a Draculaura there. There was somebody dressed up as Draculaura. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that is I found out from Monster High. I had no idea that was Monster High until she said that.
Yeah, but, Draculaura.
So, are you able to tell us a little bit about your most recent project that you finished?
Yes, the exciting part is the new projects. That's what we need to dig into.
Yes. So Monster High. So this is this new Monster High series I'm on. It is a reboot. It is a rebranded version of the old series. So they've taken characters that a lot of people know and love and just changed them a little bit, updated them with the times, and are being now marketed to our new generation, right? New generation of children. Yes, I play Draculaura. She is the daughter of Dracula. She harbors a secret desire to be a witch. And she is at this school called Monster High, which is literally a high school full of all these different kinds of monsters. And I think what's really great about the show is it's all about community acceptance and belonging. The creators of the show really, I think, did a great job. Like making this whole cast and all of the storylines really inclusive and diverse. That's something that's really important, obviously really important. I mean, we have, not just diversity in backgrounds and ethnicities, but there's like body diversity on the show, which hasn't always been present in toys and doll lines, especially when I grew up, all the Barbies looked exactly the same. They were all the same height, had the same body type. Now we're seeing different body types.
Couldn't
Yeah.
flex them. They were stiff.
Yeah. They were very stiff. We have like neurodiverse characters, characters with limb diversity on the show. It's just a show I think that really embodies like what it means to truly be representative of the world that we live in. And it comes out on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus on October 28th, 7 p.m. Pacific and Eastern.
That's
So
this
catch-
month.
catch it,
That's
catch it,
this
catch it.
month.
Yes,
That's this
that's
month.
this month.
That's
That wasn't
this month.
that wasn't necessarily commercial, but we're
Hey,
gonna
you know-
make it that way.
The cool thing about this is in the Monster High, you got some on-screen actors in there. I think was it Tony
Revelori,
Revelori. He was in Spider-Man No Way Home and Spider-Man. He was in the 3 Spider-Man movies. He played Flash Thompson. So
And
so
Iris Menace was in the West Side Story.
Oh
as well. Yeah, Khazar Mohammed was in The Flash and a bunch of other things. That's just the first one that came to mind. So yeah, I mean, I feel like everyone on the show does everything pretty much.
Nice. Now, have you had an opportunity to meet any of these people in person, or has everything just been voiceover and you say your lines and stuff like that?
So I was actually able to meet a lot of the cast last Thursday for the Monster High premiere. So at the Paramount lot, Nickelodeon and Paramount, teamed up and did a premiere both for the Monster High movie with the live action cast, and then also they did some promotion for the animated series as well, which is the one that I'm on.
That you're in, right?
And all of our sessions actually have been remote this whole time, which is really great because we were able to hire actors from like literally all over. I mean, we have some actors in New York, we have some actors in Atlanta, and then actors everywhere in between. And I think that's really great about remote recording is it really opens the doors for more actors to work, not just because of the pandemic, but like, just like resource wise,
Right.
LA's really, I live in LA, it's so expensive, now you don't have to live in LA to be a voice actor.
Right.
Or people with disabilities or who are immunocompromised, like now they can work and not have to like go into the studio all the time.
I like that idea.
Yeah, so I got to meet all of them for the first time. Well, I guess some of them I had met in person, maybe like one or two, but all of us had not been all together until the premiere.
Yeah, the pandemic sucked, but it also opened doors for a lot of people when you're talking about inclusivity and being able to be anywhere. And as long as you have the right equipment, you have an opportunity to, voice act. And then, even if you're disabled, you can't travel around, those sort of things. You may have some sort of disability where you can't go outside or, just a whole bunch of things, that people have and that, unfortunately, the pandemic, a lot of people died, which sucked.
Yes.
But sometimes you got to take the positives out of the bad and weigh those. And it's good to see like people like yourself be successful and really, really drive and entertain us all, because I'm definitely going to watch Monster High. So it's awesome.
I want to ask a personal question. I want to ask for some tea. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
It's a personal question. I mean, like,
let me
what are we
get my
talking about
pinky up.
personal
Yes,
question?
personal.
I got my
Personal.
pinky up. I'm ready.
All right. So, one, do y'all if someone messes up on their lines, do y'all be texting each other to get your stuff together?
No,
Can you
because
imagine?
honestly,
You
everyone
you're
is
remote,
messing
so
up.
he's like, it's just like,
No,
yo.
literally, we're all messing up our lines all the time. So that would just be too much texting. But I will say, we do text each other pictures of our pets during sessions sometimes, or like just silly things like that. But no, we're always messing up. I mean, I stumble over words all the time, so that's normal.
Okay, I just don't think you want to point out some things,
Dion,
but
if
that's
that was
cool.
you, it'd be like take 35.
Yeah,
Take 35.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
35.
yeah, legit. Yeah, it was his fault again. He keep miss. I just don't. I can't do this. I need to take a break.
Yeah.
But the other one is I just want to see how big your ego is. Do you got a toy of your character?
No, I want one so bad. Honestly, I'm hoping they'll just send me one. But I actually, I'm on Rainbow High, and MG Entertainment did send me my character from Rainbow High, so I thought that
I
was
was
really
gonna
cool.
ask you about that because I didn't know too much about that project, so I was gonna ask you if you can elaborate on that too. But that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I mean, there's so many shows about kids in high school. So it's about Rainbow High, which is about kids in high school who are all really into fashion. That's their thing. Their big thing is fashion, fashion, fashion. And my character is actually in a rival school to Rainbow High called Shadow High, and she's like much more emo and goth. And all the kids at Shadow High wear like black, white, and gray, and like purple, and they're all really moody.
Is that how they talk? Is that how they talk? Yeah.
Yeah, my character has a lot of vocal fry, so she's my
Oh, that's
sounds
crazy.
just like one of those shows, right? Just perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So, anyways, that's what I wanted to know. I was like, I'm gonna test to see how big her ego is. She got a toy of herself
nice.
and see. No, I'm just joking. But you should have a toy of your character though, for sure.
I do. I want a collection. I want a whole collection. I mean, one for me, one for my mom, and a collection for my grandma, because those are the two people always asking me for more things.
Well, when you go to conventions as a Monster High voice actor, you're going to be signing their dolls, and they're going to have your character, and you'll be like, "Oh, I want one so bad."
Can I buy this off of you?
just don't show up and have your real name, because they're gonna say you're not that person, and you gotta have your actual character name. They're gonna mistake you and say, you're not her. That's not her.
Yeah, all the kids are confused. They're like, who is this?
Well, at conventions, you'll be behind the table. They're going to give you some props of your character. You probably can't take home with you. So you're going to be like, oh, can I just have this one?
You guys don't need this anymore, right?
You don't need this anymore, right?
Yeah. You're gonna walk on a set one day and be like, nobody, does anybody care about that picture on the set that you picked up at the flea market? No? Okay, I'm just gonna take it home, put it up on the wall.
Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you too is I noticed that on your IMDb, Full Metal Alchemist, The Revenge of Scar. And I've heard of Full Metal Alchemist a lot. I never watched it, any of them.
I have.
The anime or the live action?
Either or. I heard of it, but I never watched either or. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I looked up, you dub a voice in the live action on this one?
Yeah, I do a lot of dubbing for live action, actually. Not all of it ends up on IMDb, but that one is like kind of a big name because the anime was so big, and then they turned into live action movies, and I voice one of the only. Yeah. No, I was thinking how many other female characters there are. I think there's only like 2 or 3 of us. Yeah.
Nice.
So I was gonna ask you, is there a difference between, like, let's say, dub an anime versus dubbing a live action? Like, do you actually have to do time measurements on the speech to try and match the lip sync as much as possible? Is there a big difference with that?
Yeah, I would say there is. And the reason is, live action dubbing has to be much more exact, because we, as humans who've been observing people speaking for centuries, we're very in tune to lip flap, right? And so with dubbing, especially going from one language to another, and words are different length, sentences are different length, and some sentences don't even translate directly because we don't have that phrase or that word in English or vice versa. And so with dubbing, it typically takes much longer. The script adapter, I think, has to work a little bit harder. Usually for anime, it's just like, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. And so you can kind of get away. You're not matching like the intricacies of like where her lips are. Are they more perked? Or are they like wide? That kind of stuff. And so a dubbing session will take much longer because they're constantly rewriting and you're really trying to match that sort of grounded read, very realistic, because it's real people, versus anime, usually larger than life. There are animes now that feel very more grounded and more cinematic, but generally still a little bit more than what you would be in real life. So you can tend to get a little bigger, a little crazier, and the sessions can go by much faster.
Are you kidding me? I used to love watching. You can't mess with my kung fu.
Oh wow, that's really good. That's
really good.
You got Paris almost fell over. You almost fell over.
I'm saying, like, that's the funniest part of the movie. You ever watch more Jackie Chan movies?
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
It's good times.
Yeah.
Good times. For me, anyway.
Out of all the characters you played, out of all the roles that you played, is there any that felt very relatable or very almost like you were that
more personable? Yeah, more personable, like that you related to the most, like.
Yeah, I honestly, I would think it's Draculaura at Monster High. When I first got the audition sides for the show, I was reading her character description and it said she's very type A. She feels like she really needs to please her parents. She's generally, everything she does, she's an overachiever. So everything she does, she gives 100% of herself to. She's very helpful. She loves being a leader of the group. But she can also be self-conscious and she feels like she has secrets that she can't reveal to other people, let alone her parents. And, they wanted her to be Asian. And I was like, oh, like I'm half Taiwanese. I speak Mandarin and actually, I felt very connected to this character, and actually in the audition we had to sing a song because they said there might be some musical elements to the show, and I sang "Try" by Colby Calais because that song is always about like someone feeling like they need to try to be something when really they don't have to be, and that's something I struggled with growing up. So I thought it'd be like the perfect match for this audition sides, and then I ended up booking the role, and then they wrote the character so that she's also half Taiwanese, and I was like, wow, like I really feel like this is really reflective of how I felt when I was growing up and all that kind of stuff. And she uses my voice. I didn't put a voice. I mean, it's me, maybe a little bit heightened, right, for animation, maybe me after I've had a few cups of coffee, but really she's really just me, and I often reacted in like the situations that she got put in.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for explaining that. That's perfect because people do characters, they put a lot into it, but then you find a character that you're related, like you have a personal connection with, makes it even that much more satisfying and bringing it to out to people to consume it. So thank you for
and I
sharing
think that's probably, I don't know, I mean, I feel like we all feel as actors, you find a way to connect to all your characters, but before Monster High, I hadn't booked any major network animation things ever. Like I literally had 0 credits, and so like I went from 0 to series regular when I booked the job, which was like totally insane. As an actor, that rarely happens, but I think the reason, or one of the reasons, I was able to book the job, I think it's because I connected so much to that character.
Nice.
That's really
Not to
awesome.
mention you put in a hustle to build your own sound booth.
Yeah.
Now you can't sit here and tell me
true.
you don't be in there playing music trying to cut some bars and pretending because you rocking back and forth like
she's a hip hop dancer, I'm sure she's got some sort of hip hop.
I mean,
okay,
I would consider myself a singer, but
nice. What's top 5 in your iPod or your iPad, Spotify, or what are you listening to? Top 5 right now?
Sam Smith, Beyonce, Rihanna,
Mm.
Mac Miller, and Jax.
Ah,
Okay.
nice. Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
That's
You know,
pretty
across the
good.
board, you know, got a
I
little
do
bit of
like a little bit of
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Depends on
Awesome.
my mood, you know. Do I want to cry tonight? Do I want to dance tonight?
Yeah.
Where's the mood?
There you go.
I
There
think
you
I
go.
can challenge you. You know, you gotta watch yourself. You gotta watch it.
I don't know, Dion. She was a dancer, bro.
I know.
I think she got you beat.
I got
Even
a
with the
1-2
pinched
step.
nerve, she
I got a 1-2 step.
I still got my upper body, you know.
she got the upper body, you know.
That's
So
what's up.
there's two things I'm looking here, and they're both pretty big in their own right. Neon White, what came out, and it was like a smash hit. It had like a following, Neon White. So that, I mean, that's an amazing project. And then you also did Return to Monkey Island, which
Yeah.
She also
This is
did
cool.
Genshin Impact.
how
She also
did
did Genshin Impact.
how were both those roles for you?
So, I mean, Neon White was really cool just because Neon Violet, my character, is so crazy. Like, she's so unhinged, and I love playing unhinged characters because you really have full reign to do whatever you want when you're unhinged. Yeah, you could be extreme from here to here to here to here, back to here. It's so unexpected. So that was really fun. We recorded that one also remotely. I actually never had met any of the cast members. I didn't even know. I had to figure it out. The game came out and I still didn't know. And then people started tagging Steve Bloom, and I was like, oh my god, I'm in a video game with Steve Bloom. Like, I was like, what? That was really cool. I had no idea because I never, crossed paths with him. And then I was able to meet Allison Packard at Comic-Con. It was really awesome. I haven't met anybody else, just her. But that was really cool. And then Return to Monkey Island. We did that one in studio. Again, I was by myself. Actually, I still don't know who most of the cast is on that game because that game's pretty recent and I haven't done any digging yet. Maybe you guys know. But that one was really fun because I play. It's a pretty small role, but it happens at the beginning of the game. But she's kind of this dickhead little girl, and who doesn't like playing a dickhead?
Right.
It sounds like to me, you speaking to some hidden person inside you since you enjoy playing the crazy role.
Yeah, my other personality.
Yes. You
Now,
ever seen the Cyberpunk anime? There's a little.
Yeah, I love it. I have some friends that are
Yeah,
so
see,
good.
I knew it, and you probably connect with the
you
little
just
girl.
missed the part that she
that
said.
double.
But go on.
Yeah,
She had some friends
Yeah,
that
she was
voiced
wild.
it, PK, and you love that series.
yeah.
He's in
It's
shock.
It's so
now.
good. It's amazing. I know it wasn't a plan, but I hope they get another season.
Yes, I
We'll
hope so
see.
too.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
really
know.
good.
They can. I mean, Cyberpunk's a city. I mean, it's a city, so
Right, yeah, in the universe. They could do more.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be its own metaverse, Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cyberpunk. When the show came out, the amount of people that play the game, they're breaking records. They're like millions and millions of people playing the game too. So it's like
Yeah. I think it needs its own. Like, I know
Right.
there was a Cyberpunk game, but I feel like they should make another one too. Just
Yes.
the anime.
Yeah.
That would be
Just
great.
more. I want more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll do another game.
No, they're gonna do another
Probably.
game. They already announced.
No, I'm
more
just saying. I'm
games.
saying like recently, like they're not. I mean, they're
All right.
They're I think they're riding this new momentum.
So
Yeah.
Courtney Lin should be in that game. That's what we're
There
saying.
we go.
Come in.
Put her in the
There you go.
anime. Put her in the anime.
I want
That's
to be
why I
in
was.
it all.
Yeah.
Both. Well, you can do both. Your character
I'll do
transcends the universe.
So, you mentioned Allison Packard, and she's a real cool person, a lot of positive energy.
Yes.
We had her on the show before. I don't know if you knew that, but she was actually, we
I
interviewed her
did.
before.
Yeah,
And
yeah, we did.
She's amazing. She's so talented. And
Yes.
she's so kind.
she's very kind. And one of the strange things that crossed over in your past with her, and I just noticed it after looking at her IMDb, is that she did narration for Snapped, and you were in that back in.
I had no idea. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just found that through the IMDb. That's so crazy that you crossed paths again
Wow.
and you got to meet her this time. So that's awesome.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so wild. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
voice acting, it's crazy. It becomes smaller and smaller. Like the more you work in it, you're like, oh, I did this with you. It's Crazy.
Yeah. It's awesome.
You don't even know I'm voiceovering myself right now.
Dion likes to talk in the third
Inception
person.
voiver.
Yeah.
Dion, you gotta talk in the third person.
Yes. So I haven't thought about it yet. I had to think about it, but for sure. Listen, all your stories are super dynamic and inspiring as well, because you went from one extreme to another, which is crazy. Like is if you told anybody else this story, no one believed you. But honestly, you do have that energy where I'd be like, can you just do audiobooks? Because you got that energy where you can just tell the whole story. And I can kind of picture it because of how you tell it, and then you change your voice. Your voice levels go up and down when you change perspectives, like when you're talking about your mom and how your mom was talking, or someone was saying, go talk to your mom about, and you're just talking about her being your coach. You just change. I feel like you can do well in the like audiobooks too and things like that.
Thank you. I've only done a few. I've done 2 full length, and then I've done like a few others as like smaller characters, because sometimes you're just a few characters, and sometimes you're like the whole dang book, and you're all 1,000 characters.
You're everyone.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So one thing I know that you wanted to talk about was the podcast.
So Power Trip was produced by Realm. Tatiana Maslany leads it's like an audio drama. I feel like I describe it as an audio drama. So she leads the cast, and when I found out it was her, I like freaked out, because I've been a huge fan of hers since Orphan Black. And she's doing like She-Hulk now, and she's like doing all this stuff, and I guess she also does a lot of audio dramas. I didn't actually get to work with her. I think because she's a high in demand celebrity. I think they did all her sessions alone, and then I actually worked with everyone else in the cast. So the rest of us had a group session on Zoom. I think they're based out of New York, so we had like some people in New York, some people in LA, and maybe somewhere else. I don't really know. But it's a really interesting story, and I think you guys should go listen to it, because
we'll do.
You'll like it.
Nice. All right. Well, we are coming to the end of the hour. So we are going to wrap this up, and Courtney, you gotta go ahead and give us all your social webs where we can find you out there in the interverse, the internet. Go ahead and let us know where people can find you.
Oh, Paris.
Okay.
Hold on. Sorry, Courtney. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Forgot to ask you the one question he asked everybody.
Oh, yes. This is a guest question that we ask everybody.
Okay.
And it's revolved around food. It's pizza. Do
Love
you prefer pineapples on your pizza? Yes or no?
My answer is I am completely indifferent. If it's on there, I'm gonna eat it. If it's not, I'm gonna eat it. I don't really care. I'm probably not gonna ask you to put pineapples on my pizza, but if you hand me a pizza with pineapples, I will not be offended. I'm just gonna eat it.
Nice. Now, would you order a pizza with pineapple on it? Like if you went to the store or went to...
No, I wouldn't go out of my way to do it.
No. So you're in New York somewhere or Chicago, you're like, oh, let me get a pizza. You're not gonna ask for pineapple.
Yeah, I'm just not picky. Yeah, I like food. I like to eat. Yeah, whatever's there.
Awesome. Thanks for catching that, Carlo, because I almost forgot. That's awesome. Thanks. Okay, Courtney, where can we find you?
Yes, I'll make it easy for you. So across literally every social media channel there is, I am at the Courtney Lin. Courtney spelled with a C, and it's the Asian spelling of Lin, Lin, at the Courtney Lin.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yep, Courtney Lin. There you go. I got you on Twitter. So there you go. The tweets.
All right. So to everybody watching, thank you for watching later or listening on Anchor and all the other feeds. It's been a pleasure talking to you, Courtney. It's been a fun time hearing your experience and going from almost becoming a doctor, a researcher, all the way to becoming a voice actor. It's just
my crazy life.
It's a fantastic journey, though. Like you found passion. You ended up finding passion where you wanted to be. The medical research wasn't there for you, that there was no passion, and you just went to voice acting, and you could feel it. You could feel it in your vibe that it's something you just really love doing. And yeah, it's going to be a huge success for you. Congratulations on that move.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome.
100%.
Nice meeting you.
No animals was hurt while filming this.
Yeah, please, God, no.
No,
None of them,
PK.
please.
I'm just putting a disclaimer.
That's
No,
dark.
no animals was hurt
Yeah, no.
while filming this.
No pineapples were harmed in the filming.
No pineapples were eaten during this session. Nice.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.